We are finally going to get ready to be on our way. Here we go. Top 8 match between Connor Lavelle and Caleb Gadner. I'm excited. Mega Manectric against Eviltal. Or I'm sorry, not Eviltal, but Vesperquin.
Vesperquin, yes. Quarterfinals, here we go.
All right, I believe they're setting up and stuff. We are pretty close to seeing the quarterfinals, I believe. So as long as there we go.
Here we go.
There's Caleb's accomplishments as well as his deck. We have the Flareon Vesperquin deck to go with the, obviously, Unknown's Farewell Letter and whatnot.
Yeah, it looks like, I think, a pretty standard version of the deck here. We see that Caleb has top 16 nationals in 2013, has a couple of good regionals finishes, and was actually a state champion in 2013 as well. So the past few years have been pretty good to him. And like we said, looking through his list, I think it's pretty standard. I don't see anything. Oh, he does have a Parallel City. That's an interesting card.
So there it is. That's his accomplishments. Regionals, tons of places in regionals. No, not quite a big victory for him quite yet. So maybe he'll accomplish that here. And now, obviously, we have Connor Lavelle as well. There's Connor. Connor piloting the Mega Manectric deck with a Mewtwo and a Raikou. Those are some interesting attackers that we might be able to see here. Top 128 Nationals, top 32 Nationals, second place at Regionals, top 4 at Regionals. Those are good accomplishments, man. But once again, we still do not see the big W.
Yeah, exactly. There's no kind of big win here. We see that second place in states way back in 2012. So it's definitely Connor's going to be looking to improve on all of these accomplishments here today in St. Louis.
Looks like both players are completely set up. They're just ready. They're waiting for the go-ahead.
Yeah, looks like we're just finishing the setting up of the game, and we're about to start here. Should be an interesting match. The players are shaking hands, and there we go. We see a Combi on Caleb's side of the field versus a Hoopa, I believe, on Connor's.
Yep.
Looks like Caleb is going to be going first, dropping another Combi.
Yeah, Caleb going first is pretty relevant in my opinion, because you do want to start attacking on your second turn if possible. And since you're not going to be getting, one-hit knockouts on these EXs, I think you want to start getting your two-hit knockouts at least early on as soon as possible.
Yeah, definitely. And being able to, it looks like he's just going to have to pass. Wow.
Oh,
so I was going to say that the big thing that you want to be doing with the Vesperquin deck is you want to be setting up on your first turn. You're not going to be attacking, but you do need to evolve, so you need to play some basics down. You need to kind of get things going, but just playing a Combi, a basic fire energy, and passing the turn is not where you want to be under any circumstances.
You don't want to see this. We've been seeing this throughout, the Swiss rounds quite a bit. People are dead drawing. We do not want to see this in the top 8 as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We see a Mewtwo with a double color. And he's going to go ahead and pass the turn back. Is his hand any better? There's an unknown.
That base set double colorless from the very beginning of the game, 20 years ago, give or take.
Yep, the perfect double colorless in my opinion. And it looks like that Farewell Letter did draw Caleb the Sycamore.
What a sick Sycamore. Now he Sycamores away 4 other cards. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. You have a Vesperquin in play. You have an Unknown in your hand. You were finally excited about your hand, because your hand was just looking pitiful at the start of this turn.
But does he not have any energy in his hand?
You know what? Maybe not, but still, he's got some stuff to work with, I'm sure. I didn't see the entire contents of his hand, but even something like an Ultra Ball is going to be fine for him. He'll find him some Shamans. I doubt he's going to, dead draw again, right?
Well, you never know. It looks like he's going to go ahead and resolve this Battle Compressor here. Pulls an Execute to the front of his deck and has decided 2 more cards to discard. Going to consult the hand.
I wonder if he's very well versed in this matchup. I think it's one of those matchups where you tend to overlook it, honestly, because you have so many other things that you're worried about. And Mega Manectric isn't one of those cards that's all that popular, honestly.
Yeah, I think Mega Manectric is definitely, it's relevant, it's out there, but I don't think that, if you were under a time crunch for the tournament, you would necessarily dedicate a lot of time to preparing for it.
Right. So he does consult his hand once again. I'm trying to look for some sort of a sign of an Ultra Ball or something like that. I still haven't found it, but I have to keep hoping. I hate to see a dead draw here.
Yeah, it looks like that Battle Compressor is going to find an Execute, an Eevee, and a Flareon. Those are going to be added to the discard pile and boost up all those revenge attacks. Looks like a Unknown's coming down, going to immediately...
Another Farewell Letter, finds another Unknown.
Finds another Unknown.
Another Farewell Letter, finds a Flareon. That's not good. Jeez. This hand is not good, man. A couple of Eevees, another Vesperquin, maybe a Combi as well. But, I mean, right away, you played your hand down to 3, and you have nothing to show for it. Yeah, is that the supporter in his hand is AZ?
I believe it's yes, AZ.
Jeez.
He is going to be able to use Intelligence Gathering this turn to draw, I believe, 4 cards.
Right, intelligence gathering's fine here, and you are facing down a Hoopa, so that's fine. But remember, I mean, your opponent's got an extra turn to start setting up and stuff like that. Remember, the X ball is no joke, and as long as the Hoopa can go to the bench, that's all that Connor's gonna need.
Looks like we're going to see Connor benching a Manectric EX, playing an energy onto it, and he may not have much else to work with. Looks like he's going to considering playing an N.
Right. I mean, I'm okay with this end here. Your opponent just intelligence gathering, so you have no idea what the contents of his hand are. You're okay with just ending yourself, both of your guys, down to 6 cards.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he just did the intelligence gathering. Like you said, he's already up to 6. It's not going to matter too much, and sometimes you just need to play the end, draw some cards, find some outs.
At this point, the game feels fairly even, actually, because it's not like Connor had a particularly strong start himself, obviously because of Mega Turbo and stuff like that. Anything can happen, but nothing's quite happened quite yet. So I'm all right with the start for both players.
We see that Raikou. Is that our first Raikou of the weekend?
It's the first Raikou I've seen this week.
Yeah, me too. That card definitely was a force in last week's kind of electric Raikou decks, and we've seen a little bit of it here. There's none in the top 8, but we definitely saw some on day 2, but I think this is the lone appearance of the Raikou in the top 8.
Right, we finally do see an appearance for that little legendary dog, and he does pass his turn. He did not get the Hoopa out of the active spot, so now Caleb once again draws a card, and he's got a ton of options. One awesome card that Caleb actually has in his hand right now is going to be Silver Bangle. That's a card that hasn't really come into play all that often in any of the Vespiquen matches that we've been able to see, but it'll definitely be very relevant here against Mega Manectric.
Yeah, Silver Bangle is definitely one of those cards that, the whole idea behind, did he just have to Sycamore away a whole bunch of stuff there? I kind of missed it, but
yeah, that was a triple shaman there that went away.
Hey, those are going to fuel that V revenge, so. But yeah, definitely the Vespiquen decks are really focused on trying to play up the fact that they are non-EXs and most of their opponents are going to be EXs. And Silver Bangle just helps with that. It is going to take advantage of EXs even more than something like Muscle Band would.
Right. There's quite a few Pokemon down there, something along the lines of like 10. It's up there. Looks like it might even be 11. But there's quite a few Pokemon that's obviously great for the Vespiquen deck. He wants to get to the point where he can one-hit knock out these Manectrics and whatnot. If he can do that, then it feels like he's going to win the game. But if he can't do that, then the game's going to be very close.
Absolutely. And we're seeing a total of 11 Pokemon, it looks like, into the discard pile.
If there is 11, then that would be 13 after this Ultra Ball.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to 13. Going to add 14 after the unknown.
There's a double colorless energy. I think that's the first one we've seen.
Now, he had one in his hand, too. I think there he's just kind of deciding if he can find a basic energy to attach to the active Vespiquen there, but just to sort of be efficient. But he can just attach the double colorless to the one on the bench with the Silver Bangle on it.
So currently this Vespiquen is dealing a ton of damage because of that Silver Bangle. And it's going to be more than enough to knock out that Hoopa, so that Hoopa could not go to the bench fast enough, and now it's going to get knocked out. And that's going to be the end of it. And now Manectric comes up. It's not quite a Mega yet, but if he does turn it into a Mega, then that's going to be the Silver Bangle gone here before you can get to these astronomically high numbers here for Vespiquen.
Yeah, absolutely. We see there are 14 Pokemon in the discard pile for Caleb. That was a big knockout there. And the really interesting thing that I like from Caleb's side of the board now is like we were talking about earlier, he does have that basic fire attached. So that's going to be really important because he's going to be able to use his energy really efficiently. Let's say he top decks a basic fire next turn. He can go ahead and attach it to that Vespiquen, and then he still has the other double colorless in his hand to kind of give the third attacker the energy he needs.
Right. Computer Search here gets rid of Parallel City and Sycamore. Computer Search can find him any card that he wants, so I would be very surprised if we don't see a return knockout on this Vespiquen.
Looks like he's considering taking an Assault Vest, a card that's been hasn't seen too much play, but I think is very, very powerful in the right matchup.
Right. The Assault Vest doesn't seem quite necessary, I don't think. I wouldn't be too afraid of my opponent knocking out my Mega Manectric. I think you're looking for... what are you looking for? Manectric Spirit Link, that's what I meant.
Looks like he's going to go ahead and first Seeker for the end there.
He has a Lightning Energy attached. He ends here. He needs a Manectric Spirit Link and a Mega Manectric in order to keep his Manectric out of trouble. I think if you knock out this Vespiquen, then you can almost expect the Manectric to get knocked out right back.
Yeah, it looks like he computer searched for the for the lightning energy there. So maybe not the play you love to make, but that's what he needed to do. And we're going to see 6 fresh cards for both players.
All right, he did not get things besides the Assault Vest. The Assault Vest will make it quite a bit harder, but remember, if he finds a Fire Energy, he'll be able to bypass the Assault Vest.
Absolutely, and there's the knockout. And you can see kind of the exact interplay in this matchup is both players have gotten 1 knockout, and Caleb has 4 prizes remaining, and Connor has 5. So this is going to be really what Caleb's trying to focus on, is just trading EX knockouts for non-EX knockouts and winning the game that way.
Right. So once again, the Assault Vest does make things a little bit strange for Caleb here, who would otherwise pretty easily be able to knock out this Manectric, I believe. Yet Jirachi does find any supporter in the deck, looks to the stars for some help, and finds a Sycamore. Sycamore will be able to draw Caleb a new hand, but more importantly, it'll get the Pokemon into the discard pile that he needs.
Yeah, so it looks like he's going to find that Sycamore. Jirachi, you know, one of the more powerful EXs you can see, like we were just talking about with this kind of EX versus non-EX interplay here. You want to play as few EXs as possible, which is why you see the Vespiquen decks only have the Jirachis and Shamans typically. And, you know, they are EXs. They open you up some liabilities, but they can be just so powerful.
We're looking for a Fire Energy. I think we just found the Fire Energy. That was huge. The Manectric is going to go down here without much of a fight. It's just going to take a single prize, and it's going to leave Connor here with only a single double colorless in play. Unless the math is wrong, but I believe it's not.
I believe
there's going to be 15 Pokemon in the discard pile at the end of the Sycamore.
I believe the parallel. Oh, there's more Pokemon going now. So there's 17 Pokemon.
17. Oh, well, that's more than enough for sure.
I think 17 is actually just enough because of the parallel city. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So that's exactly what he needed. That's what I meant. 17. I say that after.
That's what you meant. Yeah.
That's exactly what I meant, man. I meant that all along. But yeah, that Fire Energy is exactly what he needed. Thanks to Parallel City, he did need 17 Pokemon, which he has. Talk about an accomplishment.
And like you said, that Fire Energy was a big game. Assault Vest is not going to come into play here. And we see Caleb is very close to winning. He just needs 1 more EX knockout, where Connor's needing 5 knockouts. He's even needing 4 knockouts, even if it knocks out the Jirachi.
Man, that Parallel City is really a big game here. It's going to mess around with a lot of the math here for moving forward, especially against the Mega Manectric. I think if you can get a Mega Manectric in play, you might still be able to get back in this game. But currently, it's 2 prizes to 5. It's Caleb's game to lose.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things, you know, this Vespiquen deck has kind of executed its game plan perfectly. Does Caleb have any energy in his hand if a KO does come down this turn? I don't believe he has a way to respond.
Not, no.
He has a VS Seeker, so we can draw some cards, but that's definitely
not for long. Not for long, he doesn't.
Oh, gets this. Here we go.
That is 5 cards gone. Leaves his opponent with only a single Shaman and Hex Maniac. Shaman, obviously pretty nice, but still, that's 5 cards that you're no longer going to have in your hand, and 5 cards your opponent's going to add to his. Talk about a pretty nice card.
Yeah, luckily Caleb had that Shaman there, it's going to mitigate a lot of that, but that's still Connor's drawing 5 cards. 5 cards there, definitely providing an advantage, but we'll see what happens with the Shaman draw, and with the we'll see if Caleb can find an energy here.
Caleb does need to find an energy more than anything. He has a Shaman and a couple of irrelevant cards, but the propagation. Wow. Okay. Nice. The propagation from Execute is going to allow him to Ultra Ball. Ultra Ball misses. It doesn't really matter. You get a 6-card Shaman.
Just trying to dump his hand, I think, just to draw more cards with that Shaman.
6-card Shaman needs a double colorless energy here. Can he find it? 1 card, 2 cards, 3 cards, 4, 5. I don't see any double colorless energy yet.
He does still have. It looks like he's going for a Blacksmith play.
Oh, there's a Versus Seeker then. Versus Seeker finds the Blacksmith, which finds 2 Fire Energies. That's going to be the end of the match because Vengeance is going to knock out this Mewtwo EX, and that's it. Game 1 goes to Caleb.
Yeah, perfectly executed game, I feel like. They're just kind of, Caleb was never seemed to be in trouble there, just totally executed his game plan. Said, I have non-EXs, you have EXs. I have set up Pokemon, but I got the setup. You know, he did take a turn off in the early game because he missed that double colorless energy, but it didn't end up mattering. Just kind of did exactly what that deck wants to do, which is just take advantage of that prize trade. You know, say you have to spend so much resources, you have to spend so much time building up these Pokemon. Once I get my evolutions on board, all I need is energy. Even that turn he needed double colors, but he found a blacksmith. Just absolutely a perfectly executed game by Caleb.
Right. What's interesting is the game started off so slowly for both players, right? Like, Caleb actually didn't have any supporters. He just had a couple of Combies. It looked pretty pitiful for him, and then all of a sudden, the things just started clicking. And once the ball got moving, it never stopped.
Well, that's sort of the thing about the Vespiquen deck, too, is you have to put in work early, you know, but once you get the Pokemon into that discard pile, they're there forever, right? You're going to have no interruptions to that. So once you have the Pokemon in the discard pile, all you need to do is make sure you can stream those attacks with the energies and the evolutions.
Right. Now, I do not want Connor to mess my bracket up this early, so I would like to see Connor start putting up some sort of a fight. I feel like the match is definitely in Caleb's favor. The match is definitely in Caleb's favor, but it's not impossible for Connor to win here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's so you predicted that Connor was going to win?
Yeah, I have Connor
here?
as my
All
champion,
right.
man.
We both did, actually, so let's hope the perfect bracket does not get interrupted. We do need to put some prizes out, it looks like. Yeah, okay.
As early as the first round, the perfect bracket is going to be no more. But yeah, we have a Manectric start against Eevee Combi. So it's a solid start for both players. They have all their attackers that they want, and none of their Shamans or Jirachis. Ultra Ball here for Connor.
Looks like he's considering what to discard. Going to go with an Ultra Ball and a Lysander at the end of the day after attaching that Lightning Energy to that Manectric.
Find the boy Shaman.
I'm not actually sure what we're going to get here. Hoopa could be huge. Could find some other EXs. Connor going to take a minute to look through his deck and just kind of see what's there, see what's prized. It's something you'll see a lot of the more competitive players do is just make sure they know the content of their deck before they go on with the rest of the game.
Fine. And find the boy is Hoopa, who will find the boy is Shaman. That works. But yeah, I like the start much better for Connor. He's going to be able to set himself up pretty well. Instead of starting the game with a Hoopa or anything like that, he's going to be able to start using it right away, find some Manectric, another Mewtwo, or a Mewtwo, and obviously a Shaman.
That value, that Hoopa provides so much value. Just look at that. You turned a single Ultra Ball into 4 EX Pokemon.
One of which you kind of wish wasn't on the bench, but it's all right. It's no big deal. But yeah, that's a pretty good start for the man. We are going to see at least all these Pokemon come into play, get you a nice large Shaman, and you can even start overrunning as early as next turn.
Absolutely. Looks like we have an Assault Vest. It's going to be placed on
Assault Vest deactive, I think.
Well, looks like considering it's going to throw on the Hoopa there.
That's fair. So Shaman is going to draw him 5 cards. He chose not to play the Parallel City quite yet, by the way. Oh yeah, obviously.
Doesn't want to discard down, yeah. Parallel City is going to, if he were to play it, would lower his bench, so he doesn't want to do that.
Exactly.
We see an Ultra Ball discarding a Lightning Energy and still deciding on the other card. Looks like it might be a Tool Scrapper.
Yeah, you definitely want to get the Lightning down to the discard pile. That way your Mega Manectric can get maximum value. And sure enough, you're going to find another Shaman, and then you're going to be able to Parallel City away afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the advantages that Parallel City can provide is, normally you look at the card and say, oh, I can, have fewer cards on my bench. I don't exactly want that. But once you have these Shamans or even something like Hoopa, that you don't really want to use again, just you can play the Parallel City. You have to go down to 3, and it can be actually an advantage. And here's a Getsus.
A Getsus on turn 1 gets rid of 3 cards, leaves his opponent with only a single Blacksmith and Unknown. That is backbreaking.
Hey, we've seen Caleb play out of the spot before, but yeah, the Getsus has definitely done some work in this game. I think there's been a few players playing Getsus in this tournament, actually, and it's done, I've seen a few on camera, it's done some real work, so Caleb is going to need to draw something to get out of this.
Understatement of the century, sure. But yeah, that Parallel City also comes down. Battle Compressor is not going to be enough here. He does not have a Versus Seeker to pair it with, so he will basically just be draw passing right now.
Hey, he does have the Unknown, so he can Farewell Letter, try and draw 1 extra card and see what's there. We have seen that play work out for multiple players throughout the tournament. But yeah, Caleb definitely not in a good spot here. Looks like he's going to take and Execute, I would guess, is the first target for this Battle Compressor. Going to take time to look through his deck.
So if you top deck an Ultra Ball, you'll be fine. Sure. I mean, I am getting a little carried away carried away here. He does have access to one more draw, but it's a top.
Oh,
it's
he's
top
not
of
in a
the
great
deck.
spot. Don't get me wrong. Don't let me overrate that, but
Yeah,
not all hope is lost.
he's got another card that he can look at. It'll be a random card, but still, I mean, he gets rid of 3 cards that he doesn't want to see, including a Sycamore, which will actually make a Versus Seeker off the top a very live draw.
Absolutely, really smart play there. Putting the Sycamore in the discard pile, making, it does take away the chances. You have 1 less Sycamore to draw into, but you have 4 more Versus Seeker. It turns those cards on. Absolutely great play by Caleb.
And here we go. Farewell letter. Does he top deck? He does not. He only finds a Vespiquen. That's going to be the end of his turn. He's left with only a Blacksmith and Vespiquen, 2 basic Pokemon on the field. Mega Manectric here is just about to start doing some heavy damage.
Yeah, he goes and ships the turn back in Manectric. This is why people play Manectric. It's such an aggressive card. Assault Laser. It's going to go ahead and do 60 here. Once Connor's ready, 60 for 2 is a great rate. If you can find a Mega Manectric, things are really going to start getting crazy.
Feels like we're pretty close to evening this match up. Caleb's only 1 draw away from losing this game. Connor is not quite going to attack yet. He's still going to be setting himself up, obviously. You don't want to get too ahead of yourself. You do want to keep advancing your board just in case Caleb does top deck out of this.
There's the Assault Vest getting attached to that Mega Manectric and a Manectric Spirit Link, getting attached to that Manectric, and a Spirit Link onto the bench, and there's a knockout.
Assault Laser does take down the Eevee. A single card left. Only finds a Combi, so it does give him an additional draw, but that's it. I mean, you're going to evolve to Vespiquen, probably retreat the... Oh, he keeps it active. He wants to force him to have additional cards here to get the knockout.
Yeah, as it stands, the Vespiquen will not be knocked out this turn, so he's just kind of saying, I don't want you to take my Combi. I don't want to be in the same position I was last turn, so...
The fact that he put an Assault Laser on the active Manectric and not the Spirit Link means that the Vespiquen's in pretty solid shape to not get knocked out yet. That's going to give Caleb an additional draw if things continue the way they look.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're seeing Connor look through the discard pile, consult all the options before he makes his play. There's the AZ going to go ahead and pick up and place right back down that Hoopa. Scoundrel Ring is going to find a Mega Manectric and 2 other EXs. It looks like we're going double Mega Manectric.
Right. I like this double Mega Manectric. You might even just want to spend your turn Mega Evolving here. You're not going to get a knockout anyway, so you might as well just do it. It's the same thing, the same equivalent.
Ooh, but Mega Turbo.
Mega Turbo changes everything. He's actually going to be able to attack with his Mega Manectric this turn. He's going to retreat the Manectric, activate Mega Manectric. That's the end of Vespiquen. Once again, down to a single draw for Caleb here.
And that energy goes right back onto that Manectric Mega Turbo. A huge game there. Moment of truth. Yet another Combi.
All right, another Combi just means 1 more draw for Caleb. Once again, remember, even if he keeps top decking basics, he's eventually just going to get prized out.
Lightning Energy goes on to the Mewtwo. Connor going to go ahead and consult the discard pile. Once again, I think he's looking to see if there's any energy there. No, he's looking for a Hex Maniac, actually. Going to Inverse Seeker, play the Hex Maniac.
Play.
Yeah, turns off the Shaman, turns off any potential Jirachi as well.
Top deck of Jirachi. No, okay. Top deck's a Flareon. That's the end of the game. Things are tied 1-1. Connor and Caleb, one game to go. Which one of these players will advance? Once again, I'm picking Connor. I've been picking him from the beginning.
Well, just like we talked about, after the first game, we said, that was really Caleb executing his game plan.
Right.
He got those Vespiquen set up. He got the basics. He got the energy he needed. He just took advantage of that prize trade, and that's his deck worked like it's supposed to work. On this side, this game, we saw Connor do that exact same thing, only the opposite. Yes, Caleb drew pretty poorly. Not much you can do there, but regardless, Connor's setup was great. That Mega Manectric, that Mega Turbo was huge. He got the Mega Manectric out. He started doing a lot of damage, and that's the great thing about Mega Manectric is even if he was pressured there, once you're attacking with a Mega Manectric, you're saying, okay, not only do I have an extremely beefy Pokemon, I'm going to do 110 damage, but I'm also putting energy on a benched Pokemon. So if you deal with this threat, I have another one ready to go. So that was, I think those 2 games, even though, the draws weren't great, were just absolutely perfect at showcasing what the decks are meant to do.
The Mega Manectric is guaranteed to get a 1-hit knockout every turn. There is no Pokemon in Connor's or Caleb's side of the field that has any type of way of avoiding that knockout. So that's exactly what you want to be doing. You want to get the Spirit Link in play. You want to be able to start attacking with Mega Manectric. If you can do that on turn 2, you should be able to win the game. Otherwise, though, remember, if Vespiquen does set up normally, it only gives up 1 prize a turn, and that could be the defining factor.
Yeah, that definitely was not indicative of how I think a normal game will go.
I don't think either of these 2 games have been indicative, but that's been the story of our turn.
Right, exactly. Caleb didn't really have much he could do there. Sometimes the the draws get there. But I think that was just great at showcasing exactly what the Mega Manectric deck wants to do.
Right. I mean, Mega Manectric, we've seen its power. We saw how even Manectric EX, without evolving, Mega evolving, can start knocking out Pokemon. I mean, it knocked out Basic, sure, but if the Vespiquen has a Silver Bangle attached, all of a sudden it's going to get knocked out right back from a regular Manectric EX.
Right, exactly. And even just the normal Manectric doing Overrun can kind of, mess with some damage on the bench, make that easier. Just an overall great card. And it looks like players are getting ready for Game 3. Here we go. This is the defining game. So who advances to the semifinals and who has to go home?
Mewtwo start with a Manectric on the bench against Combi with an unknown. Unknown immediately says farewell and draws another card, which is a Shaman, which is a great card for Caleb to draw.
Yeah, it looks like Caleb's going to go ahead and drop another Combi and an Eevee, just kind of like we've been talking about, kind of getting all those basics set up to eventually turn into those powerful attacking stage ones. A double colorless energy onto the Combi there, and a Shaman is going to net Caleb 3 cards.
Yeah, Caleb considered dropping the Execute, but he decided not to at the end of the day. And now an unknown going to say farewell one more time. Ultra Ball gets drawn. Ultra Ball being drawn here is big. That's going to continue the draws here for Caleb if he chooses to do so, which he does. Down goes Flareon and Execute into the discard pile where they honestly belong right now, and finding another Shaman, I'm sure.
And that's 2 more Pokemon into the discard pile, getting more power for that B Revenge attack later. Looks like Caleb's going to go ahead and consult his hand, but he is going to be getting a Shaman, it looks like. Consider getting the Shaman, consulted his hand, might change his mind. Yeah,
I mean, I'm pretty sure you're going to get a Shaman here. You want to keep drawing. Your hand is down to 2. It's not exciting. Get yourself more cards, get a better setup. And the Shaman being in play isn't all that relevant. I mean, yeah, it is relevant, obviously, because you can start getting Lysandered, and that's 4 prizes. But still, I mean, I feel like you just want to keep setting up.
It does matter, we've been talking about the price trade a lot, but there are times where you just need to slam the Shaman. Caleb has an otherwise good start. Yes, I don't think he has a draw supporter. He doesn't have some things that he wants, but he is getting those basics. He does have an energy, so dropping a Shaman or a Jirachi, I think Jirachi would be fine here too. Definitely you don't want to get rid of that advantage that you have. You want to make sure that you can keep. You want to make sure that you have a decent start, and even if it takes some riskiness, even if it's dropping 2 Shaman, 2 EXs, you can still kind of keep it going.
Right. He does find the Shaman, and that's going to be 3 additional cards drawn here. He always draws them so secretly.
Looks like he found 2 Vespiquens, a Versus Seeker, a Parallel City of his own.
A Hex Maniac comes down. Hex Maniac is going to be okay here, but not exactly game-breaking either. The Shaman getting discarded by the Parallel City, though, is pretty nice.
Well, the Hex Maniac really depends, I think, on the contents of Connor's hand. If he's relying on a Shaman, as we saw Caleb rely on this turn to get set up, it's going to be huge. If not, it's not going to be as big of a deal. We see a double colorless and an Assault Vest on that Mewtwo, Spirit Link on the Manectric, and we're just seeing an X-Ball knockout. So Connor ended his turn without playing anything big, but the prize did net him a Computer Search, which is going to be huge.
Right, and more importantly, that's a Combi down. That means that you want to avoid losing Combis early. Your entire game plan relies around you getting knockouts faster than your opponent can get knockouts because I mean, honestly, you just want to avoid facing a Mega Manectric too early.
Yeah, and it looks like we might have kind of a slower hand from Caleb as well. You see 6 Pokemon in the discard pile. That's not going to be enough to even
There's a Versus Seeker. Does he have any supporters?
He played the Hex Maniac last turn. I didn't see if he happened to discard any off of anything, but
that could explain why he Hex Maniac. Maybe he just didn't have a choice.
Right. He looks like he is. Oh, he has an AZ. Going to pick up that Shaman.
For sure, that's the right play. Now he Shamans for 3 more cards. Only 3 more cards. There we go. 4 more cards. All right. Stop drawing. Oh, he finds a Jirachi. Jirachi could be relevant here. He has to find an energy for it eventually. But if he does, I mean, that's a way to slow down this Mewtwo.
I think the question, we saw Caleb consider dropping that Jirachi. He's kind of asking, is this more important to be on the bench and hopefully deal with this double colorless, or do I just want to have it in the discard pile to power up my Be Revenge attacks later? He ultimately decides to play it, just hoping he can kind of get there. Maybe going to go ahead and sacrifice it to this Mewtwo, and he passes the turn.
So the Jirachi is actually just going to be used as a kind of a lamb here. Going to be going down to the Mewtwo after, obviously, first Connor's going to be setting himself up quite a bit.
Yeah, we do see that Computer Search that Connor drew off the prizes. I think that was his only really card advantage draw card in his opening hand, so it's definitely going to be nice for him.
Connor also forgoing the Raikou attacks. Some people like to try to play the Mega Manectric, start actually powering up the Raikou that way, and kind of messing with your opponent's EXKO math that way. But
I don't really think you need to here just because the Mega Man X is going to run through everything and be very difficult to knock out. So it kind of has that two things going for it, whereas sometimes maybe with the Raikou you kind of want to find some reach, you know. You want to say, okay, I'm going to power up this Raikou, make a big attack, you know, something I have problems knocking out normally, but that's not going to be the case here.
right, even though we've had a full 3 games, it feels like these games are going super fast. And I mean, we still have 45 minutes left on the clock, so we're going to get a full game here, no matter what happens. Shaman is drawing 5 cards for Connor here. Are the 5 cards super relevant? There's a Lysander right away. We're looking good.
That's a big Lysander there, just going to go ahead and take out Caleb's only energied attacker here, going into 4 prizes. And now, you know, we've talked about the prize trade a lot. Connor now has 4 prizes left, so he has kind of made this trade, at least now in the game, okay for him, because he's taken 2, so if his opponent takes 2 here, it'll kind of be more even, so Caleb is immediately on the back foot.
Right, and don't forget about that Shaman, which can always get Lysandered up. He chose to Lysander up the attacker very wisely, but if he has a Versus Seeker for another Lysander, that could be the end of Shaman, and he'll go down to 2 prizes himself.
Yeah, and that is one of the liabilities of playing cards like Shaman and Jirachi in this matchup. They're kind of too powerful not to include in your deck, and whether the fact that you're going to play them on your bench or not really comes down to just how desperately you need them. You know, Caleb definitely needed to get there, but they definitely are a liability.
He's considering playing the Jirachi, which would mean two Lysanders would mean the end of the match. Don't forget about that Parallel City, which is also really messy for him. It's going to make it so that he can't really play all the Pokemon he wants to play. The Jirachi does find him an end, though, and that was just kind of out of necessity. He's going to be in a weird game state for basically the remainder of this match. But he didn't really have much of a choice. He had to find a way out of this lock.
Important to note that currently, Connor has that big Mewtwo, but no other energy anywhere, and the X-Ball is not going to be able to knock out the Jirachi or the Shaman immediately, so Caleb does have a little bit of time if anything comes down. But yeah, he's definitely going to be wanting to find more basics. He's going to want to find energy for this Flareon, and he's definitely on the back foot here. But Connor's board is also definitely a little fragile.
Definitely. So Caleb did not particularly find too much stuff. Remember, the Parallel City is really messing with him. He can't play extra Shamans. He can't do anything like that.
Yeah, it looks like he does have 2 Shamans in his hand. He's considering what to play with an Ultra Ball here. But he's just going to go ahead and pass the turn back. And a Lightning Energy is the draw for Connor. He's going to immediately slam it onto that Manectric, and it looks like he has an Ultra Ball focused hand here, getting rid of a switch and an N.
Caleb didn't have much of a choice there. His hand just was not cooperating with him. He has to pass the turn. And look at Caleb's stance, kind of just says it all. Like this game has just not been a non-game as well, and the Mewtwo's just been able to run him over. Now a Sycamore is gonna draw Connor an additional 7 cards, and at this point
he's Skylit for the Sycamore, so that's gonna draw him 7 cards next turn.
Right. So fine, it'll draw him 7 cards next turn. But I guess really what I'm trying to say is that eventually this Mega Manectric will come down like it just did, and he'll be able to start attacking with it, and that's going to be the end of this game, I feel.
Yeah, Mega Manectric is...
Yeah, 3 prizes.
Mega Manectric is absolutely huge. Definitely one of the... Like we're talking about, once you can get that Mega Manectric set up versus a deck that's going to all the Pokemon in there are going to be knocked out by it, it's pretty unstoppable.
Here's the thing. I think you need to activate the Flareon right now because you cannot give up a single prize more, let alone 2 more prizes. So at this point, you have to activate the Flareon and just hope the top of your deck cooperates. You need to start benching either a Combi or an Eevee and just, cross your fingers and go from there.
Yeah, Caleb's definitely going to be hoping that he can find both the energy and the Pokemon, get the Pokemon into the discard pile necessary to be able to take this knockout with this Flareon. But unless an end's coming, we do know, and as does Caleb, that Connor has that Sycamore sitting in his hand. So Connor's in an absolutely great position here. And this is kind of where, we've been talking about the prize trade all match, but now we get to the point where Caleb has kind of lost that advantage. He's already taken 3, his opponent's already taken 3 prizes. It will take Caleb 2 knockouts to get back to kind of parity here. So it's, and then once you kind of get rid of that, once you say, okay, well, my prize advantage no longer matters, your deck is just lower HP Pokemon who aren't doing as much damage as easily.
I like it. He's Ultra Balling for an unknown. He knows what his outs are. It feels like the Parallel City has just been game-breaking, back-breaking for him. It's the entire reason why he's not able to set up right now. It's just working against him entirely. And sure enough, plays unknown. He needs to top deck something very relevant right now. Super important card. He finds a teammate's.
So it looks like there's going to be 12 Pokemon in the discard pile now. He does.
He found a great card right now.
Yeah, just double checking the amount of Pokemon in the discard pile.
What will he be able to do with it though?
So it looks like he is considering what to Ultra Ball now. He's going to add some more Pokemon to the discard pile. That's what he really needs to do. Is he really needs to find the knockout on this Mewtwo. It's he's in a rough position. He knows his opponent has that Sycamore. He knows his opponent just needs one more energy to turn on that Manectric. But Teammates is a big game, and he is playing to his outs.
So for sure he needs a double colorless, and he needs I believe just another basic Pokemon. Yeah, I like the Eevee double colorless. Those are the two cards that I would pick too. And now he has to Ultra Ball. Well, no. So, well, whatever. We'll figure it out. But he's got to get the knockout on the Mewtwo, which seems like it's going to happen now.
Yeah, he does need, looks like 3 more Pokemon in the discard pile to be able to knock out that Mewtwo, and he also needs to start thinking about the next turns, which is really smart, taking that Eevee there, just kind of saying, okay, well, even if I knock out this Mewtwo, it's not the end of the game. I need to really prepare for.
Actually, the more I think about it, the more I think he messed up. I don't think I would have found the Eevee with the teammates. I think I would have found it with the Ultra Ball.
I don't know what the rest of his hand is, so I couldn't say if he had the ability to get the knockout there. But he's definitely not liking this position. You know, this Flareon is going to fall.
Oh,
to
Assault Vest. That's why you couldn't get the knockout.
This Flareon is going to fall to this Mewtwo, and the Manectric is already powered up here. We saw Connor fire off that Professor Sycamore, so Caleb's definitely on the back foot here. That that prize trade is all but been mitigated. He still has to deal with this Mewtwo, and then the big threat Manectric waiting in the wings.
Yeah, this explains why he didn't go for the knockout or anything like that. Obviously, he has the Assault Vest in play. It's easy to forget about it when you just see when you don't see Caleb attacking at all, so you don't see the Assault Vest actually doing any type of work. But sure enough, it was there, and it made it so that he couldn't even consider going for the knockout there, let alone dreaming big.
Sure. It would have taken a lot more Pokemon to get the job done, and it looks like Caleb, you can see the look on his face. He does not look happy here. I think he's going to need something really big to take this game from Connor, and I'm not sure if he can find it.
Yeah, I mean, Assault Vest did absolute work there. I don't know if it would have been too relevant. I do think that Caleb would have still been in a whole lot of trouble, but the Assault Vest made sure that the Mewtwo was not going to get knocked out there. It was just too difficult for him to even consider it, and he needed additional basic Pokemon to keep the evolution line going.
Well, that's the whole thing, is that, this Mewtwo, Connor has fully built up that Manectric on the bench. This Mewtwo, if it would have gone down next turn, Connor doesn't mind that too much. This Mewtwo has served its purpose, basically, and it's actually overworked. So, any more turns that this Mewtwo gets to stay in the active position is fine.
Right. Once again, Parallel City was too difficult for him to overcome, and it seems like Caleb is just not going to be able to pull this off. Just not enough knockouts in time.
It looks like he's trying to see if he has Blacksmith plays. I'm not sure exactly.
A single Lysander will win the game here for Connor at this point.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what. He looks like Caleb has one. Oh, that's his deck. So he has. He's considering if he has a Blacksmith play. He looks like he has 1 Fire Energy in his deck, and I think 1 in his hand, which would only leave 1 possible Fire Energy in the discard pile. Yeah, so Caleb definitely in a tough spot here. I don't really know what can get him back in the game here. I think if that Manectric wasn't there, if Connor's play would have been a little bit slower, maybe Caleb could overcome this Mewtwo with the right set of cards. But that Mega Manectric waiting there, only 2 more prizes left with 2 EX Pokemon on Caleb's bench is just going to be too much. Or 3 EX Pokemon even with the Jirachi is just going to be a lot to come back from.
Right. Parallel City, Assault Vest. Bad draws, you name it. There's tons of reasons why Caleb is pretty much out of this game, and it seems like he's going to get a knockout, and then he's just going to get knocked out by the Mega Manectric if he's lucky enough to survive, your opponent not having a Lysander.
Yeah, and the thing is even if even if the Flareon does get knocked out, Connor goes down to one prize. Caleb currently has no room on his bench due to that Parallel City for any basic Pokemon. So it's not like he has a response immediately anyway.
Life too. There's hope.
Yeah, there is hope, but that's only going to kind of delay the inevitable. It feels like
I said there's hope.
there's always hope.
That's what Ben Potter would say. Let's see here. Ultra Ball. Does he need anything? I'm sure he's
I'm sure
with another Manectric or something.
I'm sure he's also just trying to get rid of cards in his hand to play a Shaman to find a Lysander, kind of finish the game off immediately. Looks like 2 Lysander in Connor's list, so
There is a Lysander.
yep, and there it is. So the Jirachi Stellar Guidance finds the Lysander. Lysander is going to target one of those small HP EXs and take the game. And Connor, just as we predicted, just as the Swaysdom predicted, is going to advance to the semifinals.